Before we dive in, if you're a jewelry or product-based business owner trying to make sense of all this tariff talk, I've got something for you. I created a free guide just for independent brands like yours. It's called Tariffs, Pricing, and Your Independent Jewelry Brand. And it breaks down exactly how to adapt your pricing, manage suppliers, and stay profitable without the panic. You'll learn what the new 2025 trade shifts actually mean and how to protect your margins while still attracting your dream customers. Grab your free copy now at flourishthriveacademy.com/tariffs. That's TARIFFS. But don't worry, we also have a link in the show notes and we'll redirect misspellings too. Now, let's dive into this episode. Welcome to the show today. I usually start this by saying, welcome to the Thrive by Design podcast. This is Tracy Matthews, Chief Visionary Officer of Flourish and Thrive Academy. And while that is still true, I am excited to be here today because in 2 weeks, technically on my mother's birthday on May 18th, we are going through a complete rebrand with the podcast. And I'm not going to go into details as to why now, but I'll be dropping the story and giving you the inside scoop about why I selected that day. Maybe some of you can guess. I would love to hear. And the best part about it is that I have so many incredible interviews for you guys. I've been busting my butt for the last 3 months to record epic interviews with some amazing talent. And we're starting to drop them even before the podcast rebrand. But one of the reasons why I am so excited about today's interview is that I'm interviewing my friend Selena Soo. And Selena is releasing a book next week, which I know you're all going to want to pick up. But more than anything, you've heard the phrase or the saying that your network is your net worth. Well, really, it's your relationships that are rich that help you build $1 million network. And that is what today's interview is all about. We're going to be diving deep. And one of the things that I think is so incredible about Selena is that she's a super connector. She literally knows so many people, and she knows exactly how people and situations and circumstances and the types of people who can support each other. And that's why she's really brought in her zone of genius here inside this book to show you how you can build your $1 million network and build rich relationships in your business and in your own life. And it's such a good episode. I loved having this conversation with Selena. So before we dive in today, make sure that you pick up her book. It's called Rich Relationships. She is on pre-order right now. And I just want to mention this, if you're listening to this podcast before May 13th, order the book in advance because pre-ordering the book really helps the author. I'm just going to give a simple plug for anyone out there who wants to be an author. When the book goes live on your launch date and there's a bunch of pre-orders, it really helps the book reach bestseller status. And it also gets momentum and initiative to get that book in front of other people just like you. And so this is like a really amazing pay it forward moment. If you're interested in building your network, this book is fantastic. I highly recommend it. And it's just a great way to pay it forward because someday you might write a book and you might need the same kind of support. We need to support our authors out there. It is hard enough to stand out in the saturated market with all of the noise out there. And we want to get good content in front of the right people. And that's what it's all about. So I wanted to also give you just a quick update about what's going on around here at Flourish and Thrive. So I am diving deep into my personal brand, and we are doing some really fun things with Flourish and Thrive. And one of those things that I am so excited about and so passionate about is a brand new tool that we've created called Desire AI. It is your on-demand marketing strategist, copywriter, and business coach. And it's trained in over 2,000 documents, multiple frameworks, and voice of brand content created specifically for jewelry and product business owners. This isn't just another AI tool. It thinks like a marketer. It's going to write like you, and it helps you create content and pricing strategies and messaging that drives real sales, whether you're crafting a sales emails, you're planning your collection launches, you're reverse engineering what to say, do, when, and what, and you're writing product descriptions or whatever it might be. Desire AI is going to give you the confidence, clarity, and conversion in minutes, not days. Because I think the biggest thing that we get hung up on is what do we do? And this is going to cut the noise for you guys. I'm so excited about it. Get on the wait list. It is definitely going to change the game for you. Now, before we dive into this interview, let me tease what's in it. We're going to be talking about why the fastest way to create $1 million business isn't ads, it's people. The 5 types of relationships every successful entrepreneur needs. Why being generous doesn't mean burning out. The 6 circles of connection framework that completely changed my mind about relationships. The number 1 mindset shift that keeps you out of transactional relationships and into authentic ones. How to build a powerful network from scratch, even if you're introverted, new to your industry, or don't live in a big city. Why reciprocity is overrated and how to become someone others want to help without asking for anything in return. She also talks about her generosity fund strategy and why breathtaking generosity beats follow-up emails every time. So let's dive into this episode with Selena Soo about rich relationships. I'm so excited to have my dear friend Selena Soo on the show today. Selena has a brand new book coming out called Rich Relationships. It is so good, you guys. I am so excited to dive deep into the rich relationships philosophy with Selena today. Thank you so much for being here, girl.
Thank you for having me, Tracy.
Well, I'm excited to talk about this because Selena and I have known each other forever. Do you remember when we first connected?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I mean, it was, New York days, at least a decade ago.
Yeah, we were at Elizabeth Yalto's workout one day. We had breakfast. Do you remember this?
Oh, I do remember that. That was so long ago. Was that 2012 or 2011?
Like that.
I mean, that was forever ago, 14 years.
Anyway, so we met randomly at this thing. I'd never met Selena before. And then 2 years later, I run into Selena at a cocktail party or something, a meetup for people in the B-School world. And then you told me about Ryan's mastermind.
Oh, yes. I remember that too. Yeah, I remember. Mm-hmm.
And then Selena and I were in a mastermind together. We used to share a room and do all the things. And we have a long history. So it's so fun. Anyway, I am excited to interview you and all about this philosophy. Tell us a little bit about your background. I know you have a very interesting background that kind of wove us into this direction.
Yeah. So I guess my story, how I got involved in entrepreneurship is when I was in my mid-20s, I had a quarter life crisis and I felt lost, confused. I was clinically depressed and things got so bad that my mom flew all the way from Vancouver, Canada to New York to be by my side, to make sure I was getting out of bed and going to work. And I remember saying to a friend, I cannot live this way anymore. Do you know someone that can help me? And that's when I got introduced to this incredible female life coach. And then through her, I got exposed to this bigger world of experts and authors. And I realized when people are struggling and suffering, they're not just looking for information, they're really looking for inspiration. And so I would, ask my friends, have you heard of these amazing people? And nobody knew who I was talking about. And so it really dawned on me that sometimes people who have the most life-changing message are that best kept secret. And so that's when I fell in love with the world of media, because I really wanted to help elevate these people so that more people knew about them. And so media was a rich relationship at the time that I focused on, because I felt like that relationship would open up doors for people, have others take their work more seriously, allow them to make a bigger impact. And today my work is more broadly focused on, all the different types of rich relationships that we can build that really, enrich the quality of our lives. And that's what a rich relationship is, one that massively enriches the quality of your business or life.
I love that. And so you are just a master connector. I just remember this back in the day. You're like, oh, so-and-so is going to be there, or I know this person, or, I really want to meet this person. You just know who everyone is. How did you start to really, you mentioned sort of the origins of this, of it helping you get to a space where you were inspired again and excited. How did you start developing these rich relationships when you weren't Selena Soo? And I mean that with all due respect, when you were just kind of starting out in your career.
Yeah. I think that, every person has their relationship building strengths. And so one of my relationship building strengths is I'm really good at spotting the connecting the dots really between people, ideas, and opportunities. It's just very automatic. I just see it right away. So yeah. And I get really excited because I know what it can do to be connected to the right person. The book is about building $1 million network, and even a single relationship can translate into $1 million into your business, right? We've both had mentors that we've learned from that have created over $1 million in our business by applying our advice, right? I've had people that have sent $1 million dollars of business to me over, a span of several years. And similarly, I have done the same. And, for all of us that are in business, especially if we're, in it for the long run and we're going to be here 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, I truly believe that we can actually, create hundreds of thousands, if not, even millions from, the rich relationships that support us, the people that want to see us win.
I love that. And so when someone is, kind of starting to build their network, what are some of the rich relationship strategies that you have to start to connect with people?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first two things is that number one, we need to get clear on what our biggest goals and dreams are, because our rich relationships are going to be with people who are aligned with where we are going and people that also want to see us win. And, sometimes people will ask, like, how can I help you? How can I support you? What are you up to? And if you don't have answers to that, right, if you're not clear where you're going, then you're not going to really tap into the full power of your rich network, right? So first, like, get internal clarity, right? What are you here to do? What matters to you? And then the second thing is getting really clear on your values, because there are going to be certain people, even if there is synergy, even if they can help you, you're not going to want to be in relationship with them. And so for some people, maybe one of their, values is integrity, and that's a filter. Even if someone is successful or charismatic, if they, are not ethical in business, you may not want to get close to them or be associated with them. My number one value is excellence. And so the people that I love surrounding myself with are people that inspire me, where I'm like, wow, they're playing big, they're doing great work. And it makes sense as someone who's a super connector, right? Because I connect other excellent people to each other. If I was connecting people to people that were not good at what they did, right, just wouldn't make as much sense, right? So based on who you are, right, for some people, it's like, okay, maybe I really value people who are creative or innovative thinkers, or, follow the beat of their own drum. So you've got to get really clear on what your values are. So what are your biggest goals and dreams? Who is connected to that? Who can support you? Who wants to see you win? But also, who do you align with from a values perspective as well? So that's where you start. And then from there, you also want to think about, well, what kinds of rich relationships I need. So there's 10 rich relationships I talk about in the book, but I think what I'll do here is just maybe share the top 5 that I think everybody needs.
Yeah.
So number one is everyone at some point in their business is going to need a mentor, someone who has already figured all the things out for them. It's the ultimate shortcut, saves you tons of money, right? So you need a mentor. Number 2, you also need peers, right? You need people around you who understand what you are going through, right? Who are there with you on the journey. And then 3, we all need promoters, and there's different kinds of promoters. Media could be a form of promoter. Right. It could be a referral partner. It could be a super connector. It could be a super fan, right? But other people that are sharing our message, who are singing our praises, who are recommending us. We need that to grow in our business. And then number 4, we all need team members. I guess it is possible to just be a one-person show, but you're not going to get that far. And realistically, everyone I know, they have someone that helps them, whether it's like, with customer service or like a tech thing. And sometimes when we think of rich relationships, we think of people like far away from us that we're trying to build a relationship with. But your team members, your contractors, these are the people who are closest to your business, and they can make or break your business. So it's really important to, and we know what it's like to have the wrong team members too. Like, it can create a lot of like challenge. All of it. Yeah. And then last but not least, number 5, we need confidants. And so these are people that we can be our true messy selves with. They see the highs, they see the lows, and they're there for us, unconditionally, right? So that could look like a best friend, that could look like a therapist, that could look like an executive coach. But as a business owner, you absolutely need confidants that you feel comfortable trusting private information with.
Well, the thing that I love about this, Selena, because I've known you for a long time and I've watched you be a super connector and bring all these people together, and you have your Rich Relationships Club and all the things. Yeah. The thing that is really incredible about what you do, I've never heard you talk about it in this way before. And I love that. Yeah. I've always thought of it when you're talking about rich relationships, it's like connecting people for business, but it really does go beyond. It's like every relationship that you have. Yeah, it really is every relationship, because, a lot of relationships, if you're an entrepreneur, like everything can support you, can lift you up, or it can create challenge for you. So yeah, even family members are a form of rich relationships. Yeah, everyone. So tell me a little bit about the six pillars of your confidence circle. Am I saying that right?
No, oh my God. But no, I'm so glad you brought it up because this is my favorite framework. So it's so close. It's the six circles of
The six
connection.
circles. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, but this is like my number one favorite framework, and everyone loves it. It's such a game changer. Okay. When it comes to humans, we are all created equal. But when it comes to relationships, certain relationships matter more than others. Certain
Mm,
people care about you more. They show up for you. You
right.
trust them. You feel safe around them, right? And so it helps to have these six circles so that you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. There's so many people, right? It helps you prioritize. So let's start with circle one. So this is your innermost circle, Tracy. So this would be, typically 1 to 3 people. It could be a
Hmm.
few more. In some cases, it's zero. But your innermost circle are the people that you are doing life with. Like whether it's day by day or week by week, they know what's going on. And these are people that you trust and keep close. So, for example, do you have like who would be a circle one for you?
My circle one would be Jason, of
Okay,
course. I'm
Jason.
doing life with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with circle one, if I reached out to a circle one, I'd be like, oh, hey, what's happening in Tracy's life? They would know how to answer that question,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So they know what's going on. So that's circle one. Okay. So then there's circle two. And so these are people that are maybe not on the pulse of the day by day or week by week, but these are people that you just trust so much, right? These are
Mhm.
some of your most treasured connections.
Right.
You know that if you reached out to them and you're like, I'm in trouble, I need help, texted them, can you talk to me in 2 hours? If a circle two got that
Come
text
come
message,
pick me up in jail. Just kidding.
yeah, they would be thinking about how do I do that, right? So when you're in a circle two relationship, it's a pleasure and a priority to show up, for
Yes.
your circle two people. So that's a smaller group, kind of soul family. That might be half a dozen or maybe a dozen,
Mhm.
but it's a smaller intimate circle. Now, the next circle after that is circle three. So this is your active network. So we're going to have perhaps most of our rich relationships in the
Right.
active network. So these are people who you're like, oh, invite them to the party. These are people that you trust, you care about, you feel comfortable recommending them to others, telling other people about them, hanging out with them. If they needed to crash at your place for a night and you had an extra bedroom, you feel comfortable letting them into your home. You feel comfortable sharing private, sensitive information, right?
Mhm.
Because you trust their character. So that's
Right.
circle three, that's active. Now there's circle four, and that is your distant network. So these are people that you keep at an arm's length a little bit. So there's three main reasons why someone is in circle four. Reason number one may be, Tracy, if you just met someone and you had one conversation, even if you're like,
Right.
oh my gosh, they're amazing, the reality is they're still a stranger. There's still so much you don't know about them. And so they're not going to have like super high levels of trust proximity from like day one or day two, right? So that's why
Mhm.
they're circle one. They're still acquaintances. Another reason might be like you could have known them for a long time, but deep down there is like some kind of misalignment, whether it's like every time you see them they're always down in the dumps, complaining about other people, speaking negatively, and you're just like,
Right.
this feels weird, right? Or maybe they're kind, but you can never count on them, they never follow through on their word, and you're just like, okay, I'm still going to keep them in my network, I care about them, but a little bit at a distance, right? Or maybe there are people that you're like, okay, you like them, but you're not super comfortable recommending them or having them get super
Mhm.
close to your inner circle and friends, right? That's circle four. Another reason why someone might be in circle four is you might be in a place in your life where, oh my gosh, my life is so full, 1, 2, and 3 full to the max, and I can't really be an active friend and colleague and supporter to this person. And so I'm just in a place where they have to be at circle four and I'm going to be nice to them, but I don't have bandwidth, right? So that's
Right.
who goes in circle four. Then there's circle five. And then so these are disconnected relationships. So it could be someone that has betrayed you. And it's just like,
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so that's where they go. It's like we're done, right? We're not really in relationship anymore. It could be someone who you were close to at one point, but then the relationship turned toxic and you keep on having conversations and you keep like working so hard to fix it and
It's
nothing
not
ever seems
working.
to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, this is not even like healthy for me, right? Or it could be someone that you don't know, but others have warned you and you don't feel safe with this person. There's some people that I know who I would put in circle five because of that. So that's why they're in circle five. And then circle six are unknown. So that means you don't know each other. Maybe you know of each other, but you're not in a
Right.
relationship. So the reason why I'm so obsessed with this framework is because it's important to be in integrity in relationships. I remember Sherry Salata once saying, maintaining a friendship not rooted in your truth keeps you out of integrity.
Maintaining a friendship not rooted
Not
in your
rooted in
truth.
your truth keeps you out of integrity. And when I heard that,
True.
and I looked
Wow.
around me, I had multiple relationships where I was out of integrity because maybe, it's like if you have a friend, they're like your circle too. Let's just say they're a relationship coach. And meanwhile, there's all this drama and chaos, with their life partner. And there's all this drama in their relationship with you. And they're not really like an embodiment of what they're supposed to be, right? And it's really hard to be like their big supporter, right? Or if you have a relationship with a contractor and they create a lot of drama or they flake on you, but you're like, oh, it's just so hard to find people. So you like put up with it, right? That's kind of where you're out of integrity with yourself. And so I had multiple situations where I was out of integrity and I needed to hear that. But sometimes it's like, you're not going to be like, okay, we're not friends anymore. Maybe you don't expel them from your network, but you just move them from circle 2 to circle 4. So this is like a framework for you to mentally be like, okay, I'm not going to get back to them immediately. I'm not required to fix their problem. I'm moving them to circle 4.
Well, that's interesting because I think I just naturally do that anyway.
Good. Yeah, you're just natural.
And some of it, there is that certain thing where you're like trying to fix something and you're like, it's just not, we don't have chemistry. It's not going to work, or this relationship is not necessarily for me. And it thinks something that covering people pleasers like myself maybe need to grasp is the fact that not every relationship is meant to have longevity and not every relationship is meant for you, right? For the long haul. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, one of the sayings I love is that if it's not right for you, it's probably not right for them either. Maybe they haven't caught up with it, but if you don't respect them, if you don't feel safe, if you're feeling not at ease, that's not a relationship that they want either. And so sometimes it's just the relationship is past its expiration date and you have to let each other go to pursue relationships that feel aligned and abundant for both of you, just not together.
Right. That's true. So I want to kind of get into the details of what are some of your recommendations for expanding your rich relationships network? How do you foster those relationships, especially in a professional aspect? Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of building your network, the easiest way to connect with new people is through some kind of like commonality, right? Whether it's like, okay, let's go on an entrepreneur's hike together, right? Like a group of us all get together. So we have that similar interest. Or there is some kind of organization that hosts meetups, or someone is hosting a retreat or a conference, right? So going where similar people gather is one, or having people that know, like, and trust you recommend you to others. Like, oh, you should meet this person, right? So that's going to be the easiest. I mean, yes, we can go online and find people we want to connect with, but there isn't that trust. There isn't that commonality. So that's always the easiest. I think that everybody should invest in going to events. Even if you're like, I don't like to travel that much, at least like once a year, twice a year, kind of like a bigger event. And some can be like local things, or maybe, you could be the one that initiates and organizes meetups. And it could be a self-care Saturday. It could be, something around the Super Bowl, like whatever your interests are, gather people around that. And one thing that I really like doing is having co-hosts. So let's say it's you and you have 2 other co-hosts and each of you bring 3 people. Well, now you have 12 people. That's it, right? It's like so easy. And then if you have snacks and beverages, you can split the bill like the co-host, right? It's just so easy to bring a small, intimate, very curated group together.
Now, there are always relationships where someone's a giver and someone's a taker, or there's maybe different types of people who are giving in a relationship. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I do. So I want to talk about the 3 types of givers that I talk about in my book. And the reality is we've all been all 3 at different points, right? So giver number 1, that is the indiscriminate giver. So they give from a place of, I need to prove myself. I need you to like me. I want to feel worthy. So they are very quick to give, and they really center the other person. And oftentimes they lose themselves in the process.
Oh,
And so they,
interesting.
right? So they feel exhausted because they're giving all the time. And oftentimes they may even be initiating the giving, but then eventually they get resentful and even angry, even though the other person didn't ask them to do anything, right? So we've all had these moments where we've been indiscriminate. So that's a certain type of giver. Another type of giver is a transactional giver. And so that person's really focused on like, what can I get? Right. And so this person, yeah. So this person is going to be someone that is very reciprocal in nature. And I actually don't believe in reciprocal relationships, which we should, talk about in a bit, but that's
I would love to.
Yeah. It's a semantics thing, but it's like, okay, if I give you X, you're going to give me X later, or I'm depositing coins into like a relationship bank account and then I can take like the money, out of it. Right. So the issue with that is a lot of people do not want to be in transactional relationships. It's also very short-term thinking.
I don't.
Right. Yeah. It creates a lot of pressure. Like, I don't like it. Yeah. So that's that. And then the third one is rich giving. So rich giving is when you are intentionally and purposefully pouring into people. Rich givers have discernment. So they're not giving to everyone. They're not being pulled in a million directions and being run ragged. They're someone that is able to discern, this is a rich relationship for me. This is someone I truly care about. There is a synergy, there is energetic abundance, there is mutual care, and I really want to see them win. And I'm going to pour into them, right? But these rich givers also create space that allows other people to pour into them too. And so they have that discernment, and, they can make so much more impact, right? They're going to pour into their circle 1s and 2s primarily, and also, circle 3s, right? And so it's about the other people, but they also create space for themselves to be in relationship. Really, if I had to summarize the Rich Relationships book, it's how to be a rich giver, right? How to be a rich giver is how to build $1 million network. And a lot of reasons why people are afraid of networking, or, they're wary of it. Well, one is they've seen a lot of transactional givers, but also they're like, I don't have the time, or I get overwhelmed by a lot of people, or whatever it is. And I say in my book, one rich relationship is more valuable than 100 casual connections. And I'm sure, in your life, Tracy, you can think of a handful of people where you're like, oh my gosh, you're like my anchor. You really showed up for me. I don't know what I would do without you. Like, thank you. Right. Those are the richest relationships. We want to pour more into those, like nurture those ones, invest in those. So even if you don't have a lot of time, even if you're an introvert, everything in my book is going to help you so much.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, want to circle back on the reciprocal idea of reciprocity.
Yeah, so for me, and it's a little bit of a semantics thing. To me, reciprocal relationships are, I do this for you, and so you should be doing this for me. And I think that a couple of things. I don't believe in reciprocal relationships, but I believe in energetically abundant relationships, right? Where both people feel good, both people are energized by the interaction.
Right.
For example, in a mentor-mentee relationship, Tracy, you might pour into someone who is like an emerging jewelry designer. And the reality is there might not be that much that person can ever do for you, but you're not pouring into them because you expect something or you require something.
This is who I am in general. That's how I am. Yeah,
exactly. So so some relationships are not going to be tit for tat or equal, right? Or, when I was building my business, there were certain people, certain authors, I just loved their work so much. And I would buy lots of copies of their book and I would share it and do all these things. I don't necessarily require them to identically support me in the same way, right? That's the issue. If someone's a transactional giver or focus on reciprocity, one, they're also going to be afraid to receive. I know some people that they don't feel comfortable receiving because they think, oh, if I receive, it means I need to repay you. And I don't know if I can do that, right?
Interesting. Okay.
Versus just relaxing and being like, it's okay to receive.
I find this topic really fascinating because I was listening to all the things that you said. I definitely am a giver. I love to help people. I sometimes, it's almost to a fault in the sense of not the first one. What was the first one again?
The indiscriminate giver.
Indiscriminate giver.
And then there's a transactional, and then there's the rich. We all have moments where we've been each over our lifetime.
It's just, I think my brain is like, I'm such an idea person that I'm like, oh my gosh, this could really help their business, or oh my gosh, this could really help them. And sometimes I'm just, you need to do this or something like that. And so it's interesting to see kind of like, I don't consider it indiscriminate because I never feel resentful for sharing information, But sometimes it is not solicited because it's really coming from a place of me wanting to help people.
Yeah, as long as you
Fascinating.
feel
Yeah.
like your cup is still full, it's
Yeah.
rich giving, but it's when you're feeling depleted and
Mm-mm.
you're losing yourself, then it starts to become indiscriminate.
I think the only time that I would ever lose myself is if I'm bending over backwards to try to make something work. Meaning, I just had a situation
Mhm.
recently where I was talking to another entrepreneur. We're doing a swap for something. And I was
Mhm.
trying to fit it into her framework because she wasn't available when I wanted to do it. And then I'm like,
Sure.
why am I doing this? It's
Yeah.
not really
It's feeling
helping either of us.
difficult.
And now if she's irritated, I'm irritated. That would be probably in the
Well,
indiscriminate
I don't would
spot.
say it's indiscriminate because I think it was like intentional kind of win-win, but there's just misalignment.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll redo it another time. But thank you for that because that really puts some context. And one thing I do feel like is runs rampant sometimes in the coaching world, not necessarily like some parts of my businesses, is this idea that like this transactional nature to things. And like I always want to show up and just be supportive in any way that I can. I love that you kind of called that out. If you notice that you're kind of getting trapped in this transactional
Yeah.
kind of giving, like what's your recommendation if you're kind of
Yeah.
like, well, they're going to help me. I don't want to
Right.
necessarily have to
No,
reciprocate.
I mean, and I also want to because I think that this conversation is so nuanced. And so I also want people to understand that it's okay to be drawn to people where there's an abundant win-win energy. That's
Yeah,
not a bad thing. That's not being a transactional person. That's being someone that is intentional and purposeful, right?
right.
So when you think about like when you're drawn to people, right, their personal brand will bring you in like, oh, this is such a cool person. My friends
Mhm.
say great things. I see that there's synergy. But then ultimately, people are going to stay in relationship with you because of your personal character and their
Yes.
personal relationship, how they feel about you, right? And
Yes.
so the thing with a transactional relationship, let's say, you meet someone and it's like, okay, you connected over business. There's all this like synergy, you support each other, but all of a sudden this person is no longer a seven-figure entrepreneur. Maybe they are kind of retiring from their work. Maybe something bad happened in their life and they lost their power of influence. If this was a transactional relationship, it's when the
Right.
power is gone, then the relationship is gone. But if it's a true
Oh,
relationship,
I see.
no matter what changes, whether you're down in the dumps or you're in the highs of highs, or whether you've changed your business identity, it doesn't matter because we have a real relationship.
Right.
So I'm still going to be there. Right. So it's fine. Okay. It began one way, but it's a true relationship. So the person's still there. If it's transactional, once the opportunity is gone, then the
Mm.
person's gone.
Yeah, that's a great nuance. And thank you for sharing that because I feel like sometimes it could be misunderstood. You do definitely want to abundantly help your friends and have great relationships that both people benefit from.
And I think business is built on transaction. So there's nothing wrong with transaction in terms of, okay,
Mm.
I have this offer, you pay me this money and you get this thing. Or,
Right.
hey, we would like to, let's collaborate in this specific way. You're going to do this thing. I'm going to do that thing. So that's okay. But I think there's a couple of things to keep in mind is like, you want to keep things clean. I think it's good to be clear. If you are giving to someone, but you have expectations, I think it's best to kind of say it up, right? Because I've had situations,
Mm.
I used to have a program called Impacting Millions, and we were
Right.
lucky enough to have 200 affiliates. And there were some people that kind of approached me in a way where, they're kind of, and it's not like I've done this before too, but like, they wanted to like create this like deal with me. And I would just say to them, I completely, understand. And just so you know, with my Impacting Millions program, I have, a lot of partners, and I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to
To promote
be
your
an
thing.
affiliate for
Hmm.
you. So if that's like a requirement or expectation, I just want to be upfront that I don't know if I can like meet that. And so I really build my affiliate program that hopefully, people are doing it because they want to. No one's forcing them. They're
Yeah.
invited and they can say yes or no, whether they want to promote it because they just simply believe in me, or they feel
Mm.
like there is also a great business opportunity here. They get to learn, so much in the process, right? So if you feel someone's trying to create something transactional and you're like, I don't want that kind of transaction, you
Mhm.
just say like, hey, just like heads up, I'm not going to be able to do that, right? What's not good is to like lead someone on so that they do stuff for you and that's like, oh, I can't do that. So I just like
Right.
to address it up front.
And sometimes, it's like there is also, when I've worked with people, I have an intention to support them in a certain way, but the timing doesn't work out or something like that.
Yeah. So Tracy, I feel like that's like where communication comes in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's such a big part of building rich relationships. And I think that sometimes as humans, we don't communicate enough. So you could
Right.
even say to someone like, hey, I just wanted to reach out because I know I dropped the ball on this. I know that this is like a really important promotion of yours. And I'm also just so grateful for how you showed up for me. And I just don't think I can really come through this round. But if you're open to this, I would love to support you in a different way. Or can you let me know the next time it's happening? So you're just in
Right.
communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you just simply cannot help them at all. But yeah, then it's like, I have another thing that I want to do for you, but you just like let them know.
Yeah, I love that. So, for people who are in the process of just learning about this philosophy and building their own rich relationships network, what's the most important thing that
Yeah.
you think that people need to know?
Yeah, the number one most important thing is to learn how to be a really good giver because
Mm,
everybody wants to be in relationship with other generous people, right? For me, if I know someone is a generous person, a kind, generous person, I'm drawn to them, right?
right.
And we can feel safe when we're around other givers. And so, I want to share this term that I coined, which is breathtaking generosity. So it's
Ooh, I
exactly
like it.
right? It's exactly what it sounds like. So it's this idea when someone is so generous, it literally takes your breath away. You're like, I don't even
Mm,
know what to say. There's two core ways to be breathtakingly generous. So, number one is to be a pain detective. This is a term that Joe Polish created, and it's someone who is really attuned to the pain and suffering of the people around them. So, if you were like Selena Tracy, well, how do I know if people are in pain? Trust me, if you live in the
right.
United States, you probably know people whose homes have been hit by the hurricanes or they had to
Mm,
evacuate, right, in Florida or North Carolina. You probably know people that were affected by the wildfires, in
mhm.
LA. So natural disasters, that's a pain. Another form of pain might be someone is having relationship trouble. Maybe they are going through a divorce. Maybe their kids are having behavioral issues at school. Maybe they have money challenges. Maybe there are big changes in their industry. Maybe they're being affected by AI in a negative
Yeah.
way. Maybe their husband lost a job. Maybe their revenue had a major dip, right? Maybe they are reinventing themselves, right? Which is what you help people do. And it's like they feel like, am I relevant? I feel like I'm losing my identity. So there's pain all around us. And so be the first to show up, not the last to show up,
Right.
right? Be someone that takes initiative and action. The second thing is being a dream amplifier. So think about the people
Ooh, I
that you
love
care
this.
about, right? Like, see, I feel like that's a natural thing for you. What are their biggest goals? What are their biggest dreams, right? Like, so for me, you know that this book means everything to me. And you were the one that initiated, like, hey, I would love to have you on my podcast. Hey, I feel like, the people in my program could really benefit from this. I would like to buy books for them, right? And so,
Mhm.
how do you initiate and be the first to show up, not the last to show up? Because people are going to remember that. And those are the relationships that they're going to prioritize, like in their highest moments where they wanted people to be by their side, and their lowest moments when they felt like nobody was there.
Yeah. And I'm trying to get you to come to Arizona so you can do some in
Yes.
person so we could do a book party, all the
Yeah.
things.
Yes. Okay. We're manifesting it.
I know. We're manifesting it. We're calling it in. We're going to organize all the people to get you
Yeah.
here.
And then the other thing I just want to say to people is like, it doesn't have to cost a tremendous amount of money to do this. I mean, there's different ways that you can be helpful to people. Maybe you've done, I don't know, research on something and you can just like pass along the research, or you have like an amazing recommendation of a person to hire for them to make their lives easier. Or maybe you know someone that just gave birth and they're taking time off from work, and maybe you gift them like 10 hours with your executive assistant, right? You don't even have to put any of your time,
Right.
but like 10 hours with your executive assistant to make their life easier, or send food to them, right? So there's little things that you can do, but it's really about showing up in the moments that matter, that someone feels like, wow, this person really shows up and cares about me.
Is that the generosity fund thing that you idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to just reflect something back to you, Selena, because you knew I was going through a hard time. And you're
Mm,
like, here, let me hook you up with this. And here, let me buy you coaching sessions with my coach. Here, let me do this. Let me do that. And I just want to say that, like, you've been so generous to me. And so what I want to reflect back to you when it came to me helping you promote your book. First of all, we've been friends for a long time, and of course I would have done it. But
Aw.
there was also just this nature. We hadn't even talked for a very long time, and you just showed up and like popped in like, hey, I don't know why, but this just dropped in and I felt like you could use this, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's just that kind of thing. Like it just reminds me, number one, that you're an awesome person and this book is going to be
Aw.
so amazing, but also how level of like paying attention to what's going on really can, make someone's day or change the course of someone's direction or whatever. It's just,
Yeah. Right. So I think that when we're thinking about how can we be generous, think about what has made a difference in our lives. Like, so
Mhm.
for me, I was going through a lot of financial volatility. In the past couple years, I've had different things happen I had like a second property and I thought it was going to be like rental income, as they say, passive income. And meanwhile, there are all these properties that popped up around it. And all of a sudden I was losing $6,000 a month, not
Wow.
making $6,000 a
Mhm.
month. So that sucked. I also converted all of my retirement savings into a self-directed IRA so I could invest in crypto. And I lost $100,000
Oh,
in
wow.
several months. Yeah. And then there was also like all these things happening in the industry where I had to like shift my offers and do all
Mhm.
of that. I'd also invested, and this is a relatively small amount compared to what I've invested before, but $7,000 in Facebook ads. And I didn't get like a single sale. And I remember thinking, why am I spending money on Facebook ads? Like when I think about what has always worked for me, it's rich relationships, right?
Mhm.
It's my mentors, it's my friends, it's my supporters, it's the people that promote and share my work. And so instead of putting like, what about like this experiment? Instead of putting $7,000 in Facebook ads again, what if I just set aside a generosity fund and pour $7,000 into my rich relationships? And I don't
Mm.
need to see any kind of immediate return. And also when I invest in my relationships, I'm more investing overall in my network, right? Like living in a generous way, knowing that when I, create this energy of abundance around me, it's just like it uplifts everyone, right? Including
Right.
myself, right?
Right.
So yeah, so I did that. And so there were things that I did that, whether they cost $100 or $200, buying like coaching sessions, like asking my coach, hey, if I just, cause she was a new coach, like if I just sent you like all the most amazing people, what would it cost for me to just get a bundle? Like what if I bought like 100 sessions from you, right? So yeah, I did that. I just gave away the coaching sessions because that's what I needed. And I sensed that people who are similar to me could
Yeah.
also benefit from it, right? So it might be like, oh, I want to give you my favorite book. I want to, connect you to this incredible resource. I want to send you this like delicious thing. I want to take you to my favorite restaurant, right? Like give people the things. Well, I mean, you do want to be attuned to their pain and their
Yeah.
needs and their
What do they
goals,
need? Right.
but also you can get inspiration from what are things that really help me, especially if you're similar to the people that you're supporting.
Mhm. You've been so generous, and I really appreciated you sending things my way. And I hope that not because I need to, that there's reciprocity and like the support that I can give you.
Oh, yeah, no, and it's great because it just comes naturally, right? When we are generous, we
Mhm.
inspire other people to be generous and like it feels so good and it like creates so much more. And so part of the generosity fund is really challenging people to actually set aside money every year.
Love it.
Right. So, for some of us, every year we set aside a certain amount of money. Okay, I'm going to invest in social media. I'm going to hire someone to manage my social media. Maybe I'm just making it up, right? Like maybe
Mhm.
it's $24,000 a year on social media, or maybe I'm spending, $10,000 or $30,000 on ads or doing this and that, right? But what if you actually set aside money in generosity fund for your rich relationships? Another kind of interesting analogy is, there have been gifts that I've given people. So actually I'll just share with you like the coaching that the Jenna Rose money coaching, normally it costs $600, but I was able to create a special kind of offer for my people really early on. She gave it to me for 200. So for me, for anyone that I care about, I don't even have to think about, there's actually no limit. I would give anyone just $200. Like if I care
Yeah.
about you, like here you go. Right. And I had like someone who was going through divorce and she said, wow, Jenna Rose made me realize I'm entitled to so much more money in my divorce. Someone else said, oh, Jenna Rose showed me how to save $1,500 a month. So if we do the math, $1,500 a month, that's $18,000 a year.
Yep.
So Me investing $200 strengthened a relationship.
Yep.
It created $18,000. And then Jenna Rose has a success story. So it's like a three-way win. Everyone is winning. Now I could
Yes.
put that same money into the stock market, $200 at a 7% return. I would make $14.
Right.
I feel way more richer giving that $200, investing in someone I care about versus the stock market. Not saying you shouldn't do it. Like, absolutely.
Right.
That's a part of your financial plan. But in addition to the social media and, whatever you have going on financially, also carve out some for rich relationships as well. If you have $1 million business, maybe it's 1%, that's $10,000. Like, trust me, if you spend $10,000 on rich relationships, you'll make so much more. I mean, like, let's say you pour into your VIP clients that you care. You have 20 VIP clients and you're generous with them. And then you do this other thing and this thing, right? Mm-hmm. Even if one person renews, you've probably made it back already, right?
This is true. This is such a good conversation on showing how you can just show up for other people and really develop lifetime friendships of people who just have got your back.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So where can everyone buy your book?
Yes. Okay. So there's two things you can do because the book is going live on May 13th, but I want you to have the book right now. So what we're doing is if you go to richrelationshipsbook.com/creatives rule. So it's rich relationships plural, book.com/creatives plural rule. I'm giving you the first 4 chapters for free. And then the other thing I'm giving you are my rich relationship scripts, because when people read the book, they're like, I love the scripts, because to build relationships, it's about communication, and communication involves words. But people don't know what are the words to say to initiate a relationship, to nurture, to say no without damaging the relationship, or what about like activating the relationship, right? And so I have them all in one place. Also, if you sign up to get the rich relationship scripts before May 30th, you're going to have a chance to be entered to win $1,000. So every reason
I love it. Everyone wins. See, Selena's so generous. She's just going to give you $1,000 for buying.
Yeah. One person is going to win that. So then you can get everything right away. And then you can also get the book on Amazon. The only thing is that, you'll have to wait until May 13th. So in the meantime, you can go to richrelationshipsbook.com/creatives rule.
Awesome. Thank you, Selena. Thanks so much for being here. I'm so excited to support this book. I'm so excited to read it. I'm so excited for you. You're just such an amazing human. And I'm can't wait to see you get on the US or Us Weekly.
USA Today, that is my goal.
USA Today, sorry. I'm like, which one is it? I'm like, Us Weekly, no, USA Today.
I know, Us Weekly, no, not Us Weekly.
Maybe you'll get on that one too. The USA Today bestseller list. I know it's going to, because it's such an important book. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the show today. This is Tracy Matthews signing off. Until next time, if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you pick up Selena's brand new book, Rich Relationships. You can pick it up on Amazon or wherever books are sold. And I also want to remind you that your ratings and reviews help this podcast get seen by other people. So if you enjoyed this episode today, if you wouldn't mind just like pulling out your phone, giving us a positive rating and review, and letting others know about it, that would be amazing. I'd be so, so grateful. All right, I am so excited. We have some great content for you over the coming weeks. Thank you so much. Ciao for now. If today's episode reminded you how much you have on your plate as a jewelry or product-based founder, here's something that's going to change everything for you. Imagine if your content, emails, and launch strategy for your collections could literally be done in minutes and still sound like you. What if you could plan your weeks and months and know exactly what you should be doing to reach your goals? Well, that's why I built Desire AI, and that's what I built it to do. It's your 24/7 marketing assistant and business coach, trained to speak in your voice, write like your brand, and help you show up consistently without the burnout. Whether you're writing product drop emails or mapping out your next launch or trying to post on Instagram at 10 p.m., Desire AI is right there with you. If you have a burning question about your jewelry business or what to do, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you need an instant answer, well, guess what? Desire AI is for you. This AI tool is going to be a game changer for your business. And I would love to invite you to get on the wait list right now. Head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/Desire AI. We are going to be releasing very soon a very limited number of seats to this game-changing tool that is literally going to revolutionize the jewelry industry and the product industry. So whether you have a luxe product, you're selling another physical product or handmade goods, or you sell jewelry, this will change your life. Your brand deserves to be seen, sought after, and selling daily without costing you your time or your voice. Get on the wait list now.